Hey friends, I am, as you may or may not recognize, at the top of Sun Mountain for the first time since the last time, which was when I fell running up the mountain. So I gave it a little space. I gave the mountain a little space. I let it have its, personal bubble for a little while I took mine. And I was looking back the other day. It's September 25th was the day that I ran up this mountain, and I fell, and I actually fell hard enough that I injured this shoulder. Kind of remains to be seen how badly I have injured it. It's still, it feels like it's healing finally, but I definitely did something to my rotator cuff. Anyway, that was the last time I was here, and some of the lessons I learned from that were pretty enormous, in that there was just a level of pushing and driving myself, my body, in a way that it turns out is not so healthy, not so good. And even when you're meditating and doing many, many practices to relax the body and open the body, that inner sense of urgency, that push, can still remain. And watching myself kind of push myself over a limit like that and suffer as a result was a really powerful lesson that I have taken to heart, and I feel like I'm in a different place. And today's run up this mountain, it was very different than any of my, certainly than it's been for a number of years. I have always had the sense, whenever I run this mountain, I become inspired. And I was recently asked to play a piece of music to celebrate the life of a dear friend who passed away recently. And I had to come up to Santa Fe for an appointment, so I was here. And I thought, as I think about what I'm going to play, I'm, toying with ideas for something that I'm writing. There's hardly a more inspiring thing I can do than run this mountain. There's almost nothing that brings me that level of energy, that brings me that level of, somehow things come through. And usually what happens, the way I normally use the mountain, is I run the mountain, right? And I use the up slope as a kind of, it's a workout. I'm using my body. I'm using it as a focus exercise, and how present I can remain with my body. But I had, as I said, I've had the habit of pushing. And so what usually happens is I'll get to the top, and then on my walk down, I'll be struck by inspiration after inspiration after inspiration. It's like these little light bulbs just start going off. Now today, because I had internalized to some degree the lesson that I learned the last time, I didn't push myself too hard coming up the mountain. Not to mention, there's snow everywhere. So like an all-out bomb up the mountain wasn't really in the cards anyway. But I also found it was hard for me to even keep going, because I kept having strokes of inspiration and having to pull out my phone and record a voice memo so that this stuff would stick, so that I could actually capture it. So I've had a very cool experience of every couple of steps being struck by another little incoming idea, incoming thought. It was a really great reminder. I wasn't sure if I should do this. I thought, I could go home and just try to write at home. But the fact is, the outdoors, movement, nature, the sky, mountains, a new perspective on the planet. You can sit up here and just look for miles. I don't know, 100 miles probably at least, and I'm looking right now off into the distance over there. Far, far mountain ridges. So, where better, what better environment to seek inspiration for celebrating the life of someone who has departed this plane and moved on in their spiritual journey? And I was right. I came to the right place. People have said this before, but nature provides houses of worship. And I'm sitting here. It is so dead still. Like I feel like my breath would move a little dried wisp of grass 10 feet away because there's no other air movement happening. And so what it creates is a state where enormity, the vastness of the sky, the vastness of the planet, merge with the sense that my awareness, my body, myself, are the only thing moving. The only thing. It's like the hugeness and the internal meet. The silence of the outdoors. It's almost like, if you have two pools of two locks, like where the water's high in one and low in the other, and they're not meeting. They go like this, and eventually they come to an equilibrium. And then if you open the lock, nothing happens. The water's just already in one plane. Well, that's kind of what the external world and the internal world feel like when there's this level of silence, this level of stillness. So it feels very, very beautiful. And because the person who I'm celebrating was a man of God, a spiritual leader, a spiritual traveler, let's just say the conditions feel right. I haven't forgotten you. But it's rare to be able to drink in this level of stillness from such a vast space. And another thing, this is just a practical thing I'm noticing, I've been looking at recently. What is this call to express something, to celebrate the passing of a loved one, really placed a kind of invitation, it extended an invitation to a part of myself that I haven't been exercising for a while. Namely, the kind of creative, artistic craft. I have been practicing it, but not in this way. And what I'm recognizing is I may have the liberty to break out of certain patterns that I don't think I have the liberty to break out of right now. I may actually have permission to break out of certain things in a way that doesn't just free up my own craft, but that actually connects me to inspiration that I don't even know is there. Because creative work inherently involves connecting with the unknown, there's an element of wooing the unknown that we have to be skilled at entering into. The unknown isn't just the unknown and we can't go there and we can't know it. The unknown is a territory. It's a space. And we can be more or less skillful at going there. And that's something that is worth remembering and worth being somewhat methodical about approaching or about practicing. Because we all know we all have equal access to the unknown. Nobody's got a monopoly on the infinite void. And yet some people seem to go there way more regularly than others. So what are they doing? What are we doing? What could we be doing? A lot is showing up. And I'm incredibly grateful for this natural house of worship. I feel like I've also defined this mountain for myself in a new way. I know what I'm doing when I'm coming here. I'm communing with the earth. I'm not running. I'm not going running. I'm not getting a workout. Although I am. That's where I am today, people. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.